How do you do? I'm Dustaroo, and I want to talk to you about Dead by Daylight's developer update for March 2024. And the only reason I'm here talking about it is because, well, as a resident Twins player, I felt it was my responsibility, my obligation, to let all the people who will listen know what's about to happen to the game. As this update is going to have some rippling effects, some massive changes on this game. Even though it doesn't look like a lot, there's some stuff to unpack here. And this is just going to be a quick video showcasing my fears and what I find really funny about this update, and just all of that. Alright, so let's start with the main one, the Twins. I like the Twins. The Twins are messy, and nobody seems to really want to play as or against the Twins for the most part, but I enjoy them because I like making other things do the work for me. And this is the closest we have to a summoner class in this game. Besides maybe Nemesis, but I'd have no control over them. Those are free spirits, those zombies are. Let's talk about the Twins. So before, with the Twins, the best strategy to do is to get everybody injured, so anytime Victor downs somebody, they stay down, and you still keep control of Victor instead of, you know, the survivors holding them on like a backpack that they never want to let go, making it so you don't have a power, and it's just it just felt janky. Even though when you actually manage to dig out of that hole of the survivors hindering your power and actually get everyone injured and get Victor jumping and hitting everyone, it was a lot for the survivors to deal with, and you had a lot of control. Only if you got to that point though. So they're getting rid of that, and they're now making it so Victor hits survivors, right? They're making Victor stronger, but they're reducing his overall effectiveness to slug the whole team. But I do think they are making the Twins very powerful, and I'll say why, right? So let's go through these changes real quick, and I'll interject when I have to scream about how terrible this is going to be for survivors, but how great it's going to be for killers. So the change is they've reduced the time it takes to switch back to Charlotte from, 3 seconds to 1.5 seconds, which means Victor to Charlotte is going to be very fast transitions. And the time it takes for Victor to come out of Charlotte, sounds weird since they're siblings, the time it takes for Victor to come out of Charlotte is slightly reduced. It's not a lot, but it will make the chases significantly more difficult, giving the survivors a little bit less time, because Victor's fast. The 0.25 seconds will actually translate to a good amount at a lot of loops, sometimes being enough that you can't actually make that window or that pallet. So it's not huge, but with everything, it's going to feel a little bit bigger. Then it's reduced the time it takes to charge Victor's pounds from 1 second to 0.85 seconds. So not a huge boost, but when it comes to actually charging the shot, that means, Victors are going to be even harder to bait out the dodge, since they can get that shot off a little bit faster. And I'm not sure about the add-ons. I don't think they list the add-ons here. I'm pretty sure they don't. And we have to see how much Victor's charge add-ons actually affect this. But still, they're making Victor juiced up. If you thought he was difficult to fight before, he's getting even more stat boosts across the board in basically every aspect he does. So now they've added the ability for Charlotte to recall Victor at any time when he's unbound. Victor's just sitting out there doing nothing, just hanging out, and you're just kind of stuck not using him. That's no longer going to be a thing. If Charlotte wants Victor, she's almost always going to have Victor unless he's in a specific situation. So you're going to be chased by Victor a lot more. And I don't know about you, but when I'm playing Survivor, I don't really like going against Victor. He's very hard to deal with if the Twins player knows what to do and they're not just whoosh, soaring off into the stratosphere every time they try and hit you. If the Twins player knows what to do and hold their charges and hit their shots, Victor is an actual menace that just feels like ball sack to play against. I love playing as Victor though, but playing as Survivor, I cannot say the same. Victor can also now, spawn camp hooks. Their way of balancing this is the anti-camp meter still fills if Victor is within that radius. So that's good. I think this is going to be a problem, as a lot of killers know that if you just stand on the outskirts of that radius, the bar will charge up so slowly that you can still effectively camp, and it bleeds the survivor a lot. Of course, you have to bob and weave out of it, but if you leave Victor right on the outskirts or just in the edge of the camp meter, it's going to put a lot of pressure on survivors. So I don't know if this is going to be an issue, but I think it very well could be one. The other ones I know are going to be issues. This one is I'm worried about, but I could totally be wrong. But here is the big changes. It's not just stat changes. This is effectively a massive change to how Victor works. Victor's pounce no longer latches onto healthy survivors. So, you know, when Victor would jump on you and you get hit, then you carry him around, that no longer happens. You can see it in the, well, I guess you can't really see it in this. But Victor will launch out, hit the survivor, do his little cooldown animation, and the chase is back on. Also included, right? If Victor hits somebody, survivors can no longer kick him after he does damage to a survivor, making it even more difficult to find those opportunities to actually kill Victor. The only time you're actually going to be able to kick Victor is when he's just standing around on the field and Charlotte doesn't remember to call him back. And no, I think that's actually it. Because the other animations, he gets killed to progress. We'll get into it a little bit later. So yeah, the only time you're actually going to be able to kick Victor is when Charlotte is in control and Victor's just left out in the cold, which is not a great feeling, you know? I don't know how fun that's going to be to go against. It's definitely going to make him way stronger. But the big change, right? The big change here is Victor's pounce now latches onto survivors when they're put into the dying state. How do I get rid of that? So Victor, instead of grabbing on when you're healthy to injured, he'll grab onto a survivor perfectly right here, right? He'll lunge onto a survivor, down them, and then hold on to them. So now survivors who want to come and pick up that downed survivor have to kick Victor off his back, which is cool. I actually like this change. I think this is cool. I think this is a better way to make Victor feel better to play, Charlotte to play, and less of an issue for survivors overall, because now it forces Victor to stay on that survivor. You can't down multiple people in one Victor. He's very good at injuring and downing people, but he can't do it multiple times in like one life. Charlotte has to carry some of that weight now, which is a great change. It's just everything else makes it so you're probably always going to be injured and you're going to be constantly being downed by Victor. The plus side though is, you know, after the survivor kills you, Charlotte can't use him for like 20 seconds. It's not a small amount of time you won't have Victor, but it's also not a lot either. 20 seconds goes by pretty fast, but it will help extend some chases, so I think that's all right. I really like this change, and I think they made the right call here, but some of the other ones are also scary, especially the next one, right? So while Victor's attached to a survivor, or he's holding a survivor in a locker, right? So you're downed, he's holding on to you, or he's trapped you in a locker, and now Charlotte has to take control. Charlotte gains a 10% haste effect, means she moves 10% faster while Victor is holding someone hostage or downing them. That's kind of crazy, right? Like, here's my thing. Like, if Victor downs somebody and holds on to them, does that just go forever? As long as the survivor is downed, can they just have Victor stuck on them? Does that mean Charlotte has a 10% haste as long as that survivor is on the ground? That's crazy! 125% movement speed Charlotte with one survivor downed? That's going to be very difficult to deal with. M1 killers can make stuff happen in this game. God pallets and God loops in general are a lot less frequent than they used to be. So a good portion of loops and pallets are mind gameable even with M1 killers. Not all of them, and some of them are a little longer than others, but Charlotte being 125% is going to break most loops in the game, especially if you have it paired with like coup de grace. Oh my god, coup de grace. Other speed perks, play with your food. I don't like this change. I think it's very dangerous. Because now Charlotte will just slug somebody with Victor and then go chase down another survivor and down them and then find the other survivor and down them. I don't think the slugging game has changed much. It's now just switched from Victor specifically slugging everybody to now Victor and Charlotte sharing in their slug potential. Victor doing a little bit less, but overall making the whole team crack, making them weak, making them injured, and then holding one hostage while Charlotte just absolutely decimates everyone. I get why they made this change, right? Victor downs somebody, they're kind of far away, it takes a lot of time for Charlotte to get over there, maybe the survivor gets picked up, gens are being done, right? It wastes a lot of time. In this solution to fix the distance between Charlotte and Victor, I think they're going to actually create a monster where Charlotte is still going to slug but now she's going to be an absolute menace at doing it. I don't think this fixes the slugging issue. I think it just switches the issue to something else. It makes the slugging a little weaker and a lot harder to pull off, but with all the buffs overall, I think it's going to just make the game significantly more difficult for survivors and significantly more easy for the twins. The twins need a change, don't get me wrong, and I'm happy they're getting changes. I don't think all of these changes are it though. The haste effect, I think, needs to change. I'm very scared, and I think with all of these changes, the twins might actually be some of the best killers in the game. Previously, the twins' power encouraged slugging. It's still going to be that way. It's just Charlotte's going to be the one powering most of the slugs. Victor is going to be able to injure more people faster, and then he's actually going to down one, and Charlotte is going to clean up. That's all that's really changed. And I think they're going to be a menace on the game, and I know I can already see the massive amounts of backlash. I'm going to call it now. This haste effect is going to get changed down to 5. This is going to be changed to like 30 seconds. These numbers are this is going to be buffed to 2 seconds. This is going to go back to 1 second. This is probably also going to go to 1 second. I think they're going to walk back a lot of these changes. And I don't know where that's going to leave the twins, but overall, with these changes, the twins could be one of the best killers in the game. Still below Blight, still below Nurse, probably still below Spirit, but I think they could fight for the spot with the artist. And that's actually where I'm going to end the video. I just wanted to talk about the twins for the most part and how I think these changes are going to be a disaster on the game's community. Survivor side is going to absolutely throw a fit, and I think rightfully so, and the killer side is going to feel so empowered by these changes that twins might be actually a popular killer. That's crazy to say, right? But not for the right reasons. So I hope with these changes they can tweak it a little bit more, because if this goes live, I just have a really, really bad feeling. But anyways, that's where I'm going to end it. Thank you all for watching. My name is Dusteroo, and I will see you all real soon. Sooner than you think, actually. Bye-bye.